So next moving on to the apparent mechanism of action. So this heparin as well as low molecular weight heparin and fondaparinux, we should remember this very important point. They do not have any intrinsic anticoagulant activity. So since they don't have any intrinsic anticoagulant activity, they binds to the antithrombin. So by binding to the antithrombin, they will accelerate the rate of inhibition through antithrombin. So by binding to the antithrombin, they accelerate the rate of inhibition of various coagulation proteases. So these antithrombin is mainly synthesized in the liver and it will be circulated in the plasma. So what is the action of or the function of antithrombin? These antithrombin will inhibits the activated coagulation factors, particularly thrombin and factor 10, activated factor 10. So these two factors will form a suicide substrate. So remember heparin as well as low molecular weight heparin and fondaparinux, since they don't have any intrinsic anticoagulant activity, they binds to the antithrombin to produce anticoagulant effect. So upon binding to the antithrombin, they accelerate the rate of inhibition of various coagulation proteases. How? Because antithrombin inhibits the activated coagulation factors, in particularly thrombin and factor 10A, that is activated factor 10. So inhibition occurs only when the coagulation proteases attacks a specific arginine-serine peptide bond in the reactive central loop of antithrombin. So once this coagulation protease attacks the arginine-serine peptide bond which is present in the reactive center loop of antithrombin, so thereby they becomes trapped as a stable 1:1 complex. So these antithrombin will trap the protease in a stable complex of 1:1. So how does this heparin binds to the antithrombin? So the heparin binds to the antithrombin via specific pentasaccharide sequences. So it contains a 3O sulfated glucosamine residue which is responsible for attachment of heparin to antithrombin. So once the pentasaccharide binding has occurred on the antithrombin, there will be conformational changes which will be occurring in the antithrombin. So these heparin will bind to the antithrombin through a specific pentasaccharide which contains 3O sulfated glucosamine residue. So following that, there will be conformational change in the antithrombin so that it renders its active site more accessible to the target proteases. So by conformational changes in the antithrombin, it gives more access to the reactive site which is responsible for protease target. So once there is a conformational change, there will be acceleration in the rate of factor 10A inhibition by at least 2 order of magnitude. But this is very important. Remember, there is no effect on the rate of thrombin inhibition. So by heparin binding to the antithrombin by pentasaccharide unit through the 3O sulfated glucosamine residue, that brings about conformational changes in the antithrombin. So thereby antithrombin will expose its reactive sites for a protease target. So once there is a conformational change, these antithrombin will accelerate the rate of factor 10A inhibition by at least 2 orders of magnitude, but there is no effect on the rate of thrombin inhibition. So actually the function of antithrombin is to inhibit both factor 10A as well as thrombin, but the heparin will accelerate the antithrombin activity only to increase the factor 10A inhibition, but there is no effect on the rate of thrombin inhibition. But these heparin can enhance the rate of thrombin inhibition by antithrombin. How it is possible? It is possible mainly due to the catalytic template which is available in the heparin. So heparin, since it has got sufficient length, the heparin provides a catalytic template to both the inhibitor as well as the protease binder. So it is the only heparin molecule which is composed of 18 or more saccharide units. Remember, it is the only heparin molecule which will be composed of 18 or more saccharide units which contains molecular weight of more than 5400, which are having sufficient length. So it should have a sufficient length. Why it should have sufficient length? To bridge the antithrombin as well as thrombin together. So because of the sufficient length available, it provides a catalytic template to which both the inhibitor as well as the protease will bind, and thereby heparin helps in inhibition of factor 10A as well as the thrombin. So it inhibits both factor 10A as well as the thrombin. So heparin catalyzes the rate of factor 10A as well as thrombin inhibition. It will be similar to that of as expressed by an anti-factor 10A to anti-factor 2A ratio of 1 is to 1. So how does this low molecular weight heparin acts? These low molecular weight heparin are composed of mean molecular weight of 5000, which corresponds to the 17 saccharide units of the heparin. Since it has got a shorter molecule length to provide bridging function, it has got no effect on the rate of thrombin inhibition by antithrombin. So remember, because of the shorter length of the molecule, it will not be possible to provide a bridging function between the antithrombin and the thrombin. So there won't be any effect on the rate of thrombin inhibition by antithrombin through low molecular weight heparin. So because of these shorter molecules, it will bring some conformational changes in the antithrombin. So thereby antithrombin will accelerate the inhibition of only the factor 10A. So remember, low molecular weight heparin has got greater anti-factor 10A activity than anti-factor 2A activity, and the ratio will ranges from 3 is to 1 to 2 is to 1 depending upon the preparation. So even though it can inhibit anti-factor 2A to a smaller extent, but the anti-factor 10A inhibition will be more with respect to the low molecular weight heparin. Reason being, it only brings about conformational changes in the antithrombin to accelerate the inhibition of factor 10A. Why it cannot inhibit thrombin function? Because of its short length, it will not be able to provide a scaffolding bridging function to hold the thrombin. So coming to the mechanism of action of fondaparinux. Fondaparinux is a synthetic analog of the pentasaccharide sequence in heparin or low molecular weight heparin that will mediate their interaction with antithrombin. So remember fondaparinux, it is the only anti-factor 10A activity because of its too short molecule to bridge antithrombin to thrombin. So it is also a short molecule, very short molecule, which will not be able to provide a bridging function between antithrombin and thrombin. So it is only a anti-factor 10A. It has got only anti-factor 10A activity. So all these three, heparin, low molecular weight heparin and fondaparinux, act in a catalytic fashion. So after binding to antithrombin, they brings about some conformational changes, thereby promoting the formation of covalent complexes between antithrombin as well as the target proteases. So once this is formed, all these three, heparin, low molecular weight heparin, fondaparinux, will get dissociated from the complex, and then they will catalyze the other antithrombin molecules. So this is a very one important thing you should keep in mind. There is a platelet factor 4, which is a cationic protein which will be released from alpha granules during platelet activation. It will bind to the heparin and prevents it from interacting with the antithrombin. So these platelet factor 4 will prevent the heparin interacting with the antithrombin, thereby it limits the activity of antithrombin. So it limits the anticoagulant activity of heparin in the vicinity of platelet-rich thrombi. But remember, very important thing, these low molecular weight heparin as well as fondaparinux has got lower affinity for platelet factor 4. Thereby, it retains the anticoagulant activity even in the vicinity of such thrombi to a greater extent than the heparin. So coming to the other miscellaneous actions of heparin, it clears lipemic plasma. So remember, at higher doses of heparin, it interferes with the platelet aggregation. Thereby, it prolongs the bleeding time, and the low molecular weight heparin and fondaparinux have little effect on the platelet. Remember, it has got little effect on the platelets. And apart from that, heparin clears the lipemic plasma in vivo by causing the release of lipoprotein lipase into the circulation, which is responsible for hydrolysis of triglyceride to glycerol and free fatty acid. So remember, the clearing of lipemic plasma may occur at concentration of heparin below the concentration which is necessary to produce the anticoagulant effect. So coming to the summary of all three mechanism of actions, these heparin will mainly catalyze the rate of factor 10A as well as thrombin inhibition, whereas low molecular weight heparin has got greater anti-factor 10A activity than the anti-factor 2A activity, whereas fondaparinux it has got only anti-factor 10A activity because of its too short molecule to bridge between antithrombin to thrombin. Thank you.